All right, y'all. Mixedbygabriel here. Class number 2. Appreciate y'all for tapping in. Today's class is going to be about basically just studio sessions as a whole and just working on music in general, as well as networking. So we're really going to touch on the introduction to studio sessions. And some tips and tricks to get you guys more comfortable in the studio, get you guys to make better songs, get you guys, it's all around better music. I'd love to hear from anyone if they had done the homework. And if so, I know Danny said that he had trouble or something. You want to let me know what that was? I'd be happy to help you out with
Yeah, so like people would like just leave it on open or like respond with dry ass answers when I would like talk about their music and shit. You hear me, right? Yo, you can hear me?
All right. Well, if no one has any questions or statements regarding the homework, hear our audio. You're muted, but I'm asking you to unmute. No, I can't hear your audio. You're muted. You guys got.
I'm turning it off right now, but I don't think you can hear it anyway.
There you go. Now you're unmuted.
Can you hear me?
I was talking.
Danny, talk.
Yeah, I hear. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I can hear all you guys. Are you hearing, Gabriel? Are you hearing us stuff?
I'll just type it in the chat. I don't know why you can't hear me.
Oh. Yo.
Gotta get that interface hooked up.
No,
You hear me?
yeah, I'm muting myself. Can y'all hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
All right, so we're good now.
You can hear me?
Questions are Danny?
This is Tom. Can you hear me?
Yo, this is Danny.
Okay, this is Danny. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you, bro.
Did you have a question?
So yeah. I was talking about how like when I try to reach out to people, right, they either don't open the message or they leave it on open or like they respond with like dry ass answers to what like it makes me like not even want to continue the conversation with them because like I don't even know like what like continue from that. Like they just respond with like a thank you or like shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So like,
what are you specifically? Can you like tell me exactly what you're saying?
Like I would hit them up on DMs and be like, yo, I just peep your music and your shit tough. I ain't gonna lie, it's amazing. Keep up the good work and all that. You know what I'm saying? And so they would be like, you, and I'm like, I don't even know where to go from there. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, in all fairness, as she said this last time, it's a numbers game, bro. You know what I'm saying? Out of 100 people, out of 100 people, you're gonna get 10 people, or like 15.
Nah,
so
yeah, facts.
Definitely a numbers game. So I wouldn't let one or two messages throw you off if what I mean, it's not working to that degree, but just keep at it and it will work and you'll notice what messages and what things will do it. So I definitely say try to make it seem more genuine in the sense of I can give you an example. Look at their page and say something that's on their page to let them know that you actually looked at their page, right? Saying, yo, you got, I mean, I only know this because, I've been doing this forever, but say you just say, yo, you got dope music. I could literally have a bot doing that. Saying that, right? So you want to say something that makes it seem more human. You know what I mean? Like, yo, that song, whatever, whatever the song is called, fucking Call Me, is fire as fuck. That song Call Me is fire as fuck. I love how you have that super melodic beat in it. You know what I mean? Like, make it very specific.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you'll have better retention
Okay.
if you're more specific with the people. Like, yo, whatever, you know, like I heard about that new clothing that you dropped on your recent post or whatever it is. Just connect, relate to it. Because, you know, I'm someone just like everyone else who gets mad DMs and spam bullshit. So like the better that you can, you know, separate yourself from a spam message, the more you'll get, you know, responses. So I'd just say keep on trying. It's a numbers game, like I said. Like, shit, I'm doing hundreds of DMs a day, bro. So definitely just keep at it.
Sure, bro. Noted.
All right,
Thank
so
you, bro.
I'm gonna start to talk about some things. All right, so most of y'all in here are artists. If not artists, you're producers. But a lot of these concepts you can, you know, tell artists that you work with or help them in general with some of these concepts. So let's see. All right, so first we'll just talk about so first thing I want everyone to do, and this is going to actually associate with your homework, is everyone in here, please buy a cheap mic or phone app to record it, right? And this is so you can get used to how you sound. I know everyone thinks that they sound this way in their ears, but you actually don't. So it's a very, very good suggestion that every single one of you that are artists, please purchase something either on your phone or buy an external microphone or whatever. You can actually just download apps nowadays and just record on your fucking phone microphone. So I really don't want to hear any excuses for not being able to record yourself in this era, right? So recording yourself at home will, one, get you in the you know, in the habit of knowing how you actually sound, knowing what notes you can actually hit, and what you can actually accomplish once you're in. So another thing that correlates directly with that is I constantly have people come to the studio. I can pretty much guarantee 99% of the kids that I'm talking about right now don't have a recording setup at their house. But they come to the studio and they pick a beat and they made the song in their head, right? Right into it. But they never actually tried to sing and get that note right and sing in the key of the song, because they never actually performed it and actually heard what it sounded like through a recording system, right? So literally 90% of the time, people will come through and they'll record something in auto-tune and be confused why it doesn't sound like it's in key, and that's because they can't sing in that key. Every person on the planet has certain keys that they can sing in and that they can't sing in. It's a muscle, right? So that's why you take vocal lessons, so that you can expand it and you can hit certain notes that you randomly wouldn't hit. It's just like going to the gym, right? It's a muscle. So my suggestion is buy a cheap mic so you can actually know how you actually sound. Then use a pitch correction or auto-tune software of some degree. Like I said, don't want to hear excuses. There's mad free fucking pitch correction plugins. All out. So find a couple different beats and figure out what notes you're most comfortable making songs, right? This is gonna be your homework for this week. I'm doing it every Thursday, so you guys have until next Thursday to try this concept. But basically, I want you guys to get some sort of pitch correction auto-tune situation going on your phone or at your house with an external mic or something, and figure out the notes that you actually are good at singing in, and you feel comfortable. Like, don't be fucking picking notes that you gotta fucking sweat to hit. You know what I mean? Or you gotta literally break your vocal cords. So yeah, please, everyone do that. It's going to help your studio sessions. It's going to help you as an artist. It's going to help you have better music and better songs and not waste money and time, because a lot of y'all that, you know, are doing the things I'm talking about when you don't practice are really just wasting time.
Bluetooth ready to pair.
Bluetooth is ready to pair. Okay, cool. So another thing for studio sessions, please come with people to the studio that have some degree of knowledge of music and aren't yes men, meaning they'll just tell you, yeah, it sounds good because you're right. But you know, honest, supportive, and not distracting individuals. If you're gonna come with people, you know, I'm a big person against having people in the session unless it is someone who has to do with the music. That's just my personal opinion. I focus better when I'm just locked in by myself. I mean, you know, lots of people have different methods and whatever works for you, but just from my experience, I see people come with random people all the time. Pretty much every other session, someone comes with someone who has nothing to do with the session. And it does not do anything but take away from the session. Just to be honest, that person is just taken up there for no reason. So please be very considerate on who you're in the session, because at the end of the day, unless they're putting up, which 99% of the ones that I see definitely aren't paying for the session. Be careful. All right, another good tip for studio sessions in general is practice rehearsing your songs multiple times before arriving to the session. This could be looking in the mirror, acting like you have a microphone with a hair comb, you know what I mean, vibes, and just practicing, you know what I mean, singing it out. This could be using that phone app that I'm telling you guys to get as well. So practice multiple times before you get to the studio, so that you, and then that will also help you remember your lyrics, and that would actually, it actually makes it sound way better. It makes it sound way better because you sound more confident and behind the lyrics, and also you don't have to read off your phone, right? So you actually sound better and clean and confident. This is a huge one, and I want a lot of you guys to think about this, because, you know, part of these educational classes, and the reason I'm doing this, is to help other artists understand different facets of music, to help them get better at sounding music. One of those things is that pretty much no one actually thinks about doing or lets happen unless you're at, you know, there's different levels in your in music careers, right? Like if we're talking about the upper level, the very serious artists, they do this and they know about this, but a lot of the independent, smaller, just starting out people do not have any clue about this. So let the engineer find the right mic for you. Every single mic has different frequency responses. Every single mic has different sounds and different character, right? So it wouldn't be crazy for me to say me using this mic on your vocals sounds nasally and harsh, and on this mic it sounds balanced and even across the board with your vocal, or it sounds warmer, you know, a nice little shelf on the high end but not too harsh, you know what I mean? So these are things that you got to keep in mind when using different microphones, and the engineer knows that. So like a lot of people will just come in and not even think about that and not say anything, and 9 times out of 10 I have a certain mic picked out for that person at that degree, but you're not going to really know until you try it and you hear how your vocals sound. So my suggestion is sacrificing a little bit of your time when you're first working with the engineer to let him test different microphones on your vocal. And it goes as far as different preamps too, but more important, fuck the preamps, microphones, because that is the first thing you change. That is what is capturing all that. So unless that's good for you, turn out with a crappy recording compared to what it could sound. Okay, another good point. Again, feel free to ask questions if you guys want to while I'm talking. I have no problem with that. So you need to have a captivating emotional performance. And if you need to turn off the lights to do that, if you need to sit in a chair to do that, if you need to drink a shot of espresso to do that, I don't give a fuck. Do whatever you have to do to be able to bring that emotional aspect out and to do a captivating performance. To be honest, songs are like 70% emotional performance. So keep that in mind. If you're not, if I don't feel it, the listener. Right? Another big one that a lot of people don't do is, use tea with honey in it. Lemon is good for your throat. Lemon is good for your throat. Just anything, any sort of tea with honey in it. You can even, all right, so this is or even not, every song, good point. Like, I know you're saying sad songs, but I'm not even talking about, look, so every single song has an emotion, period. Whether it's sad, angry, upset, depressed, happy. I lost my train of thought. Yeah, so every song has a different emotion. So I want you to get into that emotion, whatever that emotion is. So there's hype songs, there's partying songs, there's energetic songs. I want you to be in that moment, in that world. So whatever you got to do to take yourself to that place, please do. So yeah, so another good tip, and this is a super big gem right here. Super big gem is basically coating your throat with honey. That will allow it to not, get raspy and harsh. So that's a big one. Rinse your mouth out for cleaner takes. You got to think. The microphones most of these engineers are using are super sensitive and capture everything. Meaning, if your lip touches your upper lip, I'm going to capture that. I'm going to hear that. If there's saliva in your mouth and it's moving in a weird way, I'm going to hear that shit. If your teeth touch your bottom teeth, I'm going to hear that shit. So whatever you can do to rinse your mouth out, gargle, and swallow all that extra shit, please do that periodically throughout the recording. And another big tip that everyone seems to have this crazy understanding of auto-tune solving the day or saving the day, excuse me. But auto-tune does not save the day. Auto-tune is an enhancement of keys, of notes, right? So if you're singing in a cool note, it will push harder onto that note and sound cool and wavy and shit, right? But if you can't sing in that note, it's going to continually try to fix it and sound sloppy. So auto-tune does not make you sound good. It's a tool for making notes sound cooler. When you're in key, it works. And also, slapping auto-tune and you're not doing anything melodic or any sort of material that is melodic, it does not sound like anything. There's no point in doing that because it's not even moving. Like, for example, if you're just rapping, you know what I mean? Like rappy, then it's not going to move. Literally, you can look at it. It stays right here. You can look at auto-tune, you'll see when it's moving, right? Cool, so I can actually, okay, let me see what else. Let's talk about some more studio session stuff, okay? Just recording, just music stuff, making music, right? So I want all of you guys, let me see the chat. I don't even have the chat. I mean, yeah, but you shouldn't even go that. My whole thing is you should not be singing. I don't know if you were here for the first part, but this whole concept ties directly into my first teachable point, which is if you're using auto-tune, to make sure to pick a beat that you can sing in, right? So if you do that first, you won't find yourself in on the back end what damn VGE damage. Oh, damage, my bad. What damage said. You wouldn't even find yourself in that position, right? If you make sure that the beat and the instrumental is in a key that you can actually comfortably sing, you will not find yourself off pitch. Therefore, you would not even need to use Melodyne. Yes, Melodyne is good for slight, fixing here and there, but I want you guys not to depend on it. That's the whole thing. I don't even want you guys to think that that's an option. I want you guys to get in the habit of finding keys that you can work with. Okay, so let's talk about it. A lot of the people that work with me, or just not even just work with me, come to me and book me, don't do this. So I want all of you guys to get better with arrangement in your songs. Intro can be 8 bars. Hook could be an 8-bar. Could be a shorter hook, could be 4-bar, but typically it's 8. Verses are 16 bars. Get in the habit of counting bars and understanding music theory in the sense of time, like bars and beats. Yeah. So not really music theory in the sense of notes, but music theory in the sense of arrangement. Right? You guys need to understand what the typical arrangement of a song is and how it fluctuates and what people are doing in the industry, right? So you could do a hook, verse, bridge to hook, and that you can have intro, outro. So what I want you guys to do is study artist songs, how they layer it, how they treat their vocals, and study the general arrangement of the songs of artists that you guys like. That will help you pinpoint a arrangement that will work and sound good for your music, right? So I want all of you guys to study how artists that you guys listen to arrange their music. I constantly have people that just come to the studio and just freestyle some shit, and then they tell me a hook is like where the verse would and should have been, and then the hook is like literally like 20 bars. And I'm like, the amount of people that come and do that is actually astounding. So I felt that it was very important for me to touch on this in my class regarding studio sessions. So another thing that I'd love to touch on is make sure that you layer your hook multiple times. I constantly have people that just do one vocal in their whole song. And I'm just going to tell you as it is, no one's really doing that. The only people really doing that is if it's like, all right, I'm dropping like a boom bap straight rap record, or I'm calling it a freestyle. Yeah, of course I'm just going to put one. But everyone else who's on charts and shit, making real music meaning like hook, verse, bridge, maybe a feature. Nah, bro. Everyone's layering, all right? So you need to layer your hook. I mean, shoot, layer it 3-4 times. Let the engineer pan the vocals to make it sound big. There's nothing like the thickness added from multiple layers of vocals. A super big gem that I want all of y'all to do, because some of y'all really don't even think about this, but it's a super big gem, and that's why I want to help you guys understand like the viewpoint as an engineer artist. So if you understand what the engineer thinks about and what he has to go through, you'll actually make better music. So one of those things is like, if there's like a click, or like you did something with your mouth weird in one take, or you said something a little bit weirdly, if you do multiple takes and let him playlist them and save them, I mean, a good engineer will just automatically save them. I always save everything. Then when it comes to mixing, that engineer's mixing it, let's say you're not even in the room with them. If there's something off in one of your takes, he can just replace it. So a lot of the big time artists and big time engineers will do this often. often, like for example, like Chris Brown, or like anyone who's that, they'll do takes on purpose to have that takes, so that if there's issues down the line in mixing and Chris is not around, that engineer can pick a better take on that work. Feel free, like I said, feel free to ask any questions periodically. I will keep on dropping points on general knowledge of studio stuff that you guys should be practicing and keeping in mind whenever you're booking or working. Stay 5 inches away from the mic and look directly into it. I know a lot of you guys like to use phones and notepads and all sorts of other shit to read off your lyrics. But what that does is it gets you in the habit of looking to the right or looking to the left or looking away from the mic, which you shouldn't be doing that. So my suggestion to you is to post up your phone above the mic or below the mic. Actually, no, above the mic is better because then you're looking directly. So please do that 5 inches away. 5 inches is like this. Like you can do this, and this is a good, good point or distance from the mic. So I used to do the 5 fingers right there. That from the mic. It should be good. And then last but not least, don't just like let the engineer just like, don't just do anything for your engineer to get levels. Go to like, let's say for example, the hook, because it's usually the loudest part of the song. Or like, maybe there's a verse where you go crazy or something, you start yelling or whatever. Get him to go to the loudest part of the song for him to get the level. That way, when you get to that loud part of the song, the levels won't clip and things won't sound fucked up. They will all be just good to go from the jump. All right. So, if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask some right now. I'll take a little break before I talk about some other things. And obviously, you guys will have telling you. Sure. Most of the time, you can get away with a lot. Like a lot of people put more emphasis on recording than they should, and all. All right, I'm gonna answer Gio's question. All right, if it's a good song, if the artist can perform and does a good take, 9 times out of 10, if mostly it's quiet in the control room, it sounds fine. It is fine, completely fine. You can get a great sounding song. Obviously, you have a good mix engineer too, but as long as you have a good recording engineer who knows how to track with correct levels and keep most things quiet in the control room, it is completely fine and it sounds the same to me most of the time. The reason why people do that is 2 things. The reason why you should be outside, I don't think anyone should be going outside the booth, because in all honesty, it just makes it, everyone have to be quiet, and the AC got to turn off 9 times out of 10, or the key, because it's going to be loud, or the fan got to turn off, and then everyone just has to be more on point. So I don't suggest doing that unless, one, it's a party going on in the booth, meaning you want to be outside and interact and like get that vibe going, to get that energy, and you need to feed off of those people. I understand that. Then 2 would be you understand engineer like Pro Tools, and then you want to sit next to an engineer. That makes sense to me. Anything else, why not just go in the booth and make it easier for everyone? But yeah, you can get great takes outside the booth. It's really more just having a good recording engineer and a good mix engineer. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, Yeah, I mean, you know, a lot of these bigger artists do it out the booth because of the vibe in Petroleum. So if you're not pouring up drinks and smoking weed and partying, why the fuck is the mic out the booth? Get your ass in the booth. You know? All right, let me answer these other questions. Is there any plugins that can remove audio clips, pops, and limitations? Yeah, Isotope, Refinement. Isotope has a lot of fucking good plugins for getting rid of background noises. And then Waves Audio, what's it called? NX Noise or NX Click. Waves Audio has a lot of fixing audio plugins. What do you think separates a good take from a truly professional? Okay. Quality. Well, that's, I like how you tied that in because that helps me better answer this question. First and foremost, music back in the day is going to sound better. You know why? Because they had less to work with. They had to make it sound good the first time. You had to go all the way back and run that whole tape back just to record it. You only had 16 tracks. Why do you think a lot of that music is so minimal but so big and fire? It's because they knew how to make good music. We're losing the touch of real artistry and real musicianship because people have the flexibility to fuck up, the flexibility to fix things and auto-tune after, like what he was talking about, Melodyne and shit. Like all these concepts were not there. So you had to be a professional to have a good sounding song. Now there's like a, you know, there's a thin line of being able to slide through that shit. And a good take from a professional take is someone who has engineer mentality as well as artist mentality. So a professional take to me, rather than just a good take, would be someone who knows how to move back and forth from the mic when there's a big section in the song, someone who comes up close when there's a whisper. You know what I mean? Things like that that show me that you're not just a singer and a musician. You understand microphones and shit. That makes you professional. A lot of these super big artists know all different aspects of the music shit. They know the fucking recording. They know a bit about it. They know enough to get by and to speak terms with the engineer. This is what makes good artists versus great artists. I mean, it depends on the type of music and it depends on the situation. I have no idea what I mean, people get too caught up on like specifics. Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm trying to answer all this shit. Hold on. Yeah, so I'm usually hitting like 10 to 6. I used to record a little bit. I'm talking about like on meters on Pro Tools. I don't like go off of DBs. I'm not like, you know what I'm saying? So it's usually 10 to 6 on my Pro Tools meter. I was recording very quiet at one time, but then you got a lot of noise floor. So I'm a little bit hotter. I like thick waveforms and good quality audio. So like definitely shooting a little bit higher, but making sure not to hit the orange or the yellow very often, like very rare. But make sure you have a good, healthy green signal in whatever DAW you use. And recording and mixing and engineer production shit, I'm gonna make another class on it. So I'd like to keep that for that. I'll talk specifics. I'll even tell you the DBs that I record at. I'm just not even thinking about that. Because yeah, because I'm gonna do a different class on engineering. Okay. The right amount of songs in a EP album. I mean, I'm just against albums all in all. I feel like albums a lot of times destroy artists' careers because ain't no one. A lot of these albums that we're hearing are all over the place in the sense that they don't even really know their sound. Pure example, what's that girl's name? Or whatever. Her album is a flop. But that's just because she doesn't know her direction. You know, she's been doing so many different types of styles of music that there was no telling what we're working with it, so they kind of had to do everything. Right? But that just means that no one's really attached to it. So my personal opinion is that shorter is better, smaller is better. Songs that are shorter are better because you get more streams. People have to put it on loop more. I think 4 songs is an amazing EP. I'm the type of person you ask me, and I'm always going to say a small number of songs. The reason that is because people's attention span is super small. So if I don't know you as an artist, why the fuck am I going to listen to more than 3-4 songs? And let's just hope they're not over 3 minutes. I'm not going to listen to that whole shit unless it's super, super intriguing. So I'm all about short packages of content that you can throw at someone that they can easily digest and easily move on with their day. That is my standpoint. I think you should have very easily digestible things. Like, for example, one of the artists I work with always does 4-song EPs, but they're different emotions and different vibes, right? He has like one happy EP that you can listen to if you're in a good mood. He has one that's like sad and more emotional through heartbreak, and you can listen to that. Like, so giving digestible amounts of music with different vibes. Obviously, you want those 4 songs to all correlate and just be like a package, but I'm all about super digestible content, meaning short, digestible content. I mean, you just gotta look at the landscape of where we are with everything, right? Is it not just me that's noticing that everything gets shorter? Reels are popping. TikTok is popping. Like, everything just gets short, you know, because people want digestible content. All right. That's it for questions for right now. I'm gonna not be able to talk about some other things. All right. So let's talk a little bit about networking with fellow peers. I know a few people asked about that. So first and foremost, all this is about is seeming genuine and seeming like you bring value. Yeah? Those are the 2 things that I want all you guys to grasp and understand, that it's being genuine and bringing value to it. I hate to say it, it's the truth. Like, ain't no one's just out here willy-nilly, oh yeah, I just want to work and work and work with good, dope people. I mean, that's a cool concept, but until you got to pay your bills, it kind of goes out the window. So, I actually talked about this with Danny a bit already. This talks on the concept. It's funny that I wrote this in my class notes. This could mean actually reading into the person, figuring out what they like, what they don't like, and what they've been working on. This helps you actually be a genuine person and make it seem like you're not just spamming or out for your own things that you want from them or whatever. So you want to reach out with a genuine message stating that you're interested in doing business. Don't use words like collab. Don't use words like work. Like, let's work. Say business. So say I have a business proposal, or say something like that. That sounds, first of all, more professional. Looks better. Everyone uses the word collab. I don't answer any DMs about collabing because that shit just is weird. Like, can you be more specific? Like, let's collab. Like, on what, for what, when, how, where. So please stop using the word collab. Or let's work. Say I have a business proposition or proposal, or let's, you know, I'd love to do business. Here's what I was thinking. You know, be very specific. Be very specific. Be very specific. Again, be very specific. Okay. Meaning, I have lots of people that just fucking DM me, yo, or like, hey, we gonna work on something. Like, what? What does that even mean? Can you guys please be a little bit more specific with your ads, man. That shit is crazy. Like, give me exact details on what you heard of mine, what you like, what you want to do, where you are located, like all that. Obviously, there's a thin line. Like, you don't want to go too crazy writing too much, but yeah, man, come on. Let's get that together. And if you are very specific, you avoid being left in the road. And obviously, I can talk about networking in person, but I feel like nowadays most of us are networking social media wise. If you guys want to know about networking in person, I have a lot of tips for that too. 99 ways to talk to anyone. So I can drop some tips off that book. So the last, yeah, for sure. Yeah, a lot of times it is. But honestly, okay, so you guys doing it. I'll talk on it. Yeah, I think in person does work a bit better, for sure. But the thing about in person is you don't get as many numbers. That's the downfall, right? So online I can get 100 people within 5 minutes. In person I could probably get one person in 5 minutes. So, but you do get better retention. So yeah, I think everyone should be doing both. If you have a chance. I mean, obviously, we're still in like a very weird place with like pandemic. Yeah, open mics are great. I mean, I can just there's a lot of different ways to approach people. Yeah, no, for sure. That's why I said you should be doing both. But it depends on the situation. 9 times out of 10, you're gonna be at like I'm not just going to a Starbucks, seeing someone and being like, oh yeah, that's a person I should network with. You know what I'm saying? Usually I'm typically going to like a music event. And 9 times out of 10, like, most of the people there are good networking people, right? I'm not just like at a bar and I look at someone and I'm like, oh yeah, he definitely could assist me in my career and something, you know? So usually you're already at a music event or you're at something related to your industry, right? So that's a bit easier, right? Like just cold approaching someone, you typically have to go off of like what they're wearing, what they're drinking. Like, hey, you know, what is that? What are you drinking? Just to like start a conversation and then lead into, you know, what do you do? But because you're gonna be at a networking industry, which is way smarter, you're really just gonna, you know, introduce yourself, you know, state what you do. I mean, there's multiple things you can do. You can wait for that person that you're interested in to perform or do a showcase, and then you can walk into them after. This is what I do a lot of times. So I can just tell you what I do. So at open mics, I wait for someone to perform, come up to them after they perform, and I'll be like, hey, dope show. I love the tunes. Let's connect. I'm an engineer. I have a studio. Bang. Here's my Instagram. Here's your Instagram. All right, dope. I'm going to reach out to you today or later today. Cool. Super simple, super straightforward. If you are an artist, you can do the same exact concept, except walk up to them when they're done and be like, hey, man, I'm an artist too. Like, we should definitely work on something sometime. Like, what's your Instagram? I'll reach out to you. Yeah, so a lot of these, I mean, you can also go a different route. You can also go like, more friendly, more just trying to talk route and keep it more like less, like try not to talk. I'll answer that in a second. Try not to talk too much about yourself, kind of like give them the platform to vent out all their shit. Like, you don't want to be the guy who walks up and starts talking to someone and networking and you're just like, yeah, I'm the shit. I do this, that, and the third. I worked with this person, that person. Like, you want to kind of let them ask you or like let them lead into you starting to talk about like, oh yeah, we should definitely, like, I do this too. Like, oh, that would be a cool link up. So the other way that I do sometimes as well is just fuck all the, hey man, like, what do you do? Fuck all that. Yo, bro, those pants are fire. Where'd you get those? Simple. Yo, I fuck with that hat, man. Where'd you get that? Dope. Where? What do you do? You know, lead into it. Don't just like come up because it seems a little bit like, sometimes it can be perceived a little bit weird when you just come like, hey, what do you do? You know what I mean? So like kind of lead into it. Be like, hey man, where'd you get the drink? What is that? What is that? You got that over there? Okay, cool. Okay. All right. What do you do for work, by the way, man? You know? Is buying features from larger artists worthwhile? It's worthwhile if they're gonna post the song and they're gonna otherwise, fuck no. I mean, the traction you get off a song, just because you have featuring Gunna on it is not as much as you think. But the traction from a song posted on his platform is going to go crazy. So if in a contract you have agreed with that artist that they're going to post on their platforms and talk about it, hell yeah, fuck you. Because now you in the pocket with a big artist. And now you're gaining traction off of his fame. But I think there needs to be a lot of smart things leading up to that for that to really make sense. Like, even like shooting a music video with the artist, like I just see so many people buy features and it just flops. It's feature, right? You just got the feature, like copy feature, build a artist, drop a music video with that artist. Shit, go on tour with that artist. I don't give a fuck. But don't just drop it and think it's going to do numbers because it has a name attached to it. Like, yeah, you might get a couple thousand extra just because they happen to search it and they happen to be. But you're not going to have that. All right. I mean, I could still go on, but we are getting close to the time. So I'm going to tell you guys the homework for the week. And again, if you want to get better at being an artist and just being more well-rounded as a person in the music industry, please do this. And please be taking notes. All right, number one homework is figure out what notes you can actually sing in a comfortable way. Figure this out by using pitch correction software and setting it to a key and seeing if it stays pretty neutral, as in not going crazy wobbly when you sing the key. That's number one. Number two is, I mean, it kind of correlates to number one, but just get some sort of situation where you can record yourself and hear yourself back. You know, phone, you get a cheap mic, a USB mic to your laptop. And this is just because I guarantee you sound different than you actually. It's actually a fact because our ears obviously sound. It sounds different. It's a fact. It's known. We don't hear ourselves like we actually sound. And then, final piece of homework is reach out to 10 people in the same field as you or like your peers. If you're an artist, reach out to other artists. If you're a producer, reach out to other producers for collaboration using some of the techniques that I talked about. Like if it's a peer or someone at your same level, like maybe coming at them like, hey man, I think like us cross branding our platforms and brands could really be mutually beneficial. Like, let's work on something. Or if it's someone who's above you, bring value to them. Don't ask for anything in return. Just bring value to the table. You'll get a response. All right, guys. Mixedbygabriel. Ask questions if you want. Feel free. I'm opening the boards for questions. Feel free to ask questions. Yeah, man. I mean, no point in me doing this if you guys don't have something to practice or try. Kind of defeats the purpose of this. You know? I want you guys to take these concepts and bring it back home. But yeah, anyone can ask any questions